are you guys doing? Thanks for joining today's live. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit shorter than some of the other ones we've been doing the past couple weeks, but it's going to be really fun. I'm joined by an amazing guest, Dr. Raina Murnak, and she's going to be here pretty soon. So, oh, there she is. I'm so excited. This is going to be so fun. So, I'm going to give you a brief introduction about Raina. So, I have my little handy dandy iPad here so I can read some bio points. But the only introduction she really needs is that was literally the most fun teacher I've ever had. Shout out. Just so creative, so dedicated to learning and teaching in a way that not a lot of people are. She's amazing, and she keeps it fun. So a little bit about her, I guess. She has been teaching private voice for over 18 years. She has a bachelor's in voice and a master's in classical composition from SUNY Stony Brook. And she got a doctorate in music theory, composition, and vocal pedagogy from Frost School of Music at the University of Miami, which is where I met her. Holla. And she is just amazing. She's done backing vocals for so many people. In her bio, it says that she's done backing vocals for me, and that's true, which is awesome. And she recently published a music theory fundamentals textbook. This woman she's just a talented. She does everything in music that she can. She puts her hands into everything she can because she really cares. She really wants to spread joy, beauty. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how to use your strengths in your career and how using your strengths and your character traits and your personality strengths can ultimately make your career give you the best outcome for a career, and you can be the most successful. So I am going to ask her to join me. Let's see. Go live. Let's see if it works. Raina. And then, of course, she can add things if I didn't say everything.
Yay!
We made it work. Yay!
Yay! Oh my God, this is such a relief. I was just on Facebook Live trying to make something else work that was a disaster zone. So I feel like I'm going to try to relax during this.
Facebook Live, for some reason, I'm like, Facebook, get with the times. You own Instagram, so.
Right. What's up?
What's the deal? Exactly. Oh my gosh. So are you in your studio right now, or are you at home?
My studio. I'm also trying out a rainbow light that's supposed to put a rainbow in the room, but
that's awesome.
It's one of those days.
You look beautiful. Your room looks beautiful. So one thing I love about Raina is her space is always so colorful and decorated, which we'll actually get into a little bit about the reason behind why you need your creative space to be like that, right?
That's right. That is right. Yes.
Cool.
Amazing. Oh my God.
So do you want to kind of dive into telling, so you can say a little thing,
yes,
about yourself, maybe a little thing about what we're talking about too?
Yeah. So, okay, we planned to do this and we weren't exactly sure what we were going to do because there's just so many rabbit holes we can go down together.
Exactly.
Sure. But, since I haven't seen Melanie in person in a while, I wanted to tell her about some of the current research that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I have a research partner who's this amazing woman. She's my idol, and she's in her mid 70s, and she's still getting degrees and stuff. And she's a psychologist, and she actually came to me during her positive psychology certification because her homework was to do everything that she liked to do as a kid. So, right? So she ended up signing up for voice lessons with me and dance lessons, which I think is adorable. Okay.
That's
so, she started, we were working together, and I was, she's not a singer.
Mm-hmm.
And Melanie, I am not a critical person, right?
Right.
I'll get the job done, but I won't do it from negativity or criticism.
Yeah.
I'll make everybody do crazy things and be like, what did I do? Right. But it's not because I'm forcing them or so. Right. She started saying you're doing strengths-based teaching.
Yeah.
had no idea what that was. And so in the process of this, like she started teaching me some of the language, the research, and I discovered the assessment that you did, which I can't wait to see what you got. This thing called the VIA Character Strengths Assessment. So maybe if you want to tell them, like, because you just took it, so explain what it is that you just took.
I was on the phone with Raina like a couple days ago, and we were like, "What are we gonna do for this?" It was like we were trying to spitball ideas. She was like, "Well, just go take this personality test." And like, I love personality tests. I'm all about it. I was like, I'm like an Enneagram fan. I love the Myers-Briggs, you know, all that stuff. And I feel like learning about yourself in that way can really help you understand like how you're built and how to use those like things, whether it's like the VIA Institute or Enneagram or whatever, use them to make your career the best it can be, or like so that you know that how you work best, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So is about I think it's like a 90 it's a 90 question quiz, but it didn't take me that long. It only took me like 5 minutes because the questions are so short. So if you're watching right now and you actually want to take the quiz, go to www.
You want me to type this in?
Yes, type it in. She's type it in.
Okay.
So
viacharacter.org. You know, that would be super cool if you did take this. Did I spell it via character? Okay. Oh my God. And then let's see, how do I make the text disappear so I could get back to us?
There you go. Oh no, there. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So go to that website, www.viacharacter.org. Some people I sent the link to already took it. So some people are potentially tuning in that have already taken it and can kind of, I think at the end of this, we're going to kind of maybe open it up for some questions and collaborative stuff. So I figured, here's the link, take the quiz now. Ideally, if you have like another device, you could, you know, you take it on another device, but whatever. So I took it, and I like as soon as I saw my strengths, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so me, and this is so I'm trying to build right now with my music project, and so that was pretty cool to see. But your strengths, when you told me yours, I was like, that's literally you.
Yeah. So, you know, I think it's very interesting because the experience I had taking it, first of all, you know yourself, but sometimes just seeing it on paper makes you really take it in. Like, there's something called strengths blindness, right? So, like, for instance, like you're such a person who's like full of like care for the world, right? Like, so much of like what you do, like the kind of music you write, like all of that. But you might just think, well, everybody feels this way. And that's called being strength blind. So like, if someone were to, like someone who barely knows you were to say, oh yeah, Melanie, she's like the one who's always doing things for the environment, or she cares about this, and she donated her, like, oh yeah, she's humanitarian, she's this, that, and the other. You might just think, well, isn't everybody? So like you, but like knowing that those are your strengths. Another word for these are the VIA originally stood for values in action. So strengths are your personal core values in action. And what's kind of amazing is, they say like your strengths or your personality, just like in those other personality tests, you're kind of, there's nurture, but so much of it is nature. And like, you know, like some people have things or they don't.
Yes.
And it's like hard to teach someone if they're not like truly a loving person. It's hard to teach that. And so, which totally could be like another rabbit hole we go down. Like we could talk about relationships. And
I mean, like, it's not just music. Like we're going to talk about it a little bit in regards to music, but this is not just about music. Like I'm guessing these strengths can be applied to all areas of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I'm gonna actually, Melanie sent me hers, so I'm gonna look at them live, if you don't mind.
She's never seen them before.
That's right. I've never seen them before, and I have like my type in the way. I'm hitting an X, and if I lose you, I'm coming right back. Okay. Okay. Wait. No. Okay. Wait. I'm gonna leave for 1 second. All
right. She left for 1 second. She's going to look at my strengths. In the meantime, you should just take the quiz, and then and then we can definitely get back to it. She has to look at my strengths and stuff. Let's see. All right, let's see. Can bring her back in. Yay. Okay, she's coming back. All right. But yeah, take the quiz. It's really cool. As soon as I saw.
Okay. Yay.
There she is. Okay,
right.
perfect.
Amazing. Okay, so wow. So Melanie's strengths are okay, so let me explain something about this. So there's 24. So you get 1 through 24 in order of how they're being expressed in your personality and whatever. Which doesn't mean, and like, because we're like really primed to see like, oh, what do I suck at? Like we look at our last one and we're like, oh my God. But what this means, your top 5 to 8, they say, are your signature strengths.
Okay.
The research, and I do mean research, because these were, I mean, this was such a large scale worldwide project with scientists, psychologists, spiritual leaders who decided that these were characteristics of people. The qualification was it had to be throughout the history of the human race.
Wow.
Like things that were spoken about as strengths throughout the history of time. That, yeah, I know, it's like crazy. And throughout all cultures. So all of these strengths that we're seeing actually pervade time and humanity, which is amazing. So her top 5 are her signature strengths. The science shows, and what kinds of science, a lot of research, experimentation, neural scans, because a lot of this is I mean, it's all backed by really hardcore experimentation, science, and research. If Melanie is living, working, and playing and loving in her top 5 signature strengths, she's going to be a really happy person. So let's see. So Melanie, her number 1 is creativity.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. And not just, so creativity, obviously, your entire livelihood is about creativity. Like there's 1 minute of your life that you're not thinking creatively.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? So, and just as an aside, something that maybe, and I'm thinking of doing this moving forward, when I did like a therapy session with my research partner, because I was so stuck creatively. Like I felt like I was at an impasse where I didn't know which way I wanted to go. And she took me through my own strengths and made me talk through things. Cool. And it like unblocked me. So like,
that's awesome.
I'm going to ask you, like, in what ways in your life or the relationships or whatever does creativity show up for you?
Ooh, I would say it definitely helps me, like, okay, how does it show up for me? Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it's something that I've always had. It's almost like a childlike tool that I use to, like, work through things and kind of just, like, just find, like, new innovative solutions to things, but in a way that's, like, kind of fun and new and keeps life exciting, I guess.
Right.
Is that kind of what you mean, or is that?
Yeah. So I would imagine that, like, given that answer, when this pandemic hit and we were all stuck, I bet you came up with a million little ways to entertain yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I came up with a million different things to do to, like, engage people. This whole lesson series that I'm doing is product of that, like, creative, like, mindset. And yeah, for sure.
Right. And so, like, yeah, so you have that spirit of reinvention, and I like how you said, like, childlike, because when you're really in touch with that child part, like, when you think about it, when we were kids, we created, we didn't care, like, who was watching. Like, I think about the mindset it takes to play dolls and stuff. Like, I wish I could go to that kind of.
So true.
Like, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, that was her number 1, creativity. And I think those who know you are probably all saying, like, yep, of course, of course. So her number 2, of course, is love. Of course it is. Oh my God. So not only love in the way of relationships, caring for people, being a maternal force, but her love of her passion for what she does, her passion for, and I didn't read this, her passion for causes. Like, I remember the last song that I heard Melanie sing live was at Frost here, or, University of Miami.
Yeah.
Just Frost, like whatever.
Yeah.
But she was on the patio and she was talking about water conservation.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's not a typical subject of a song that most people will like write about. But so how does love show up for you?
How does love show up for me? It's such an interesting question. Like you said, it's like you're framing it in such a different, unique way. I guess love shows up for me. I kind of look at it as like I look at love in a couple different ways. So universal, brotherly, romantic, self. I think those are like the four different kinds. But like I kind of feel like self-love is universal love, like just projected.
Wow.
So to love yourself, like you can have love for all different things because we're all connected. So that's kind of how I see love. So I try to put that into all of my relationships, all my friendships, all of my music and art. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, it does, because just the fact that you obviously you told us basically that you've read books on the different types of love.
Yeah.
So like you have been prioritizing the concept of love.
Yeah.
You probably loved ones, people that you care about, you probably put them first. Like, if anyone needs you, you will drop everything. You will be there for a person. People who have love up high are capable of great personal sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if we were to do this strengths assessment for a lot of frontline workers, love would be way up there for them.
That's probably very true. Oh
right?
My God. Cool thing. Yeah, I bet tons of those nurses and doctors would have love way up
love.
There. Yeah.
That kind of, just like the people who walk into the burning building, like when we're all running out, like that's love. So, okay, her third strength is spirituality. I love it. Okay, so spirituality is a connection, and I should say that these strengths are in clusters. Okay, so there are a couple of clusters, and I'm going to just I have some stuff on my computer here that I'm like coming through here. So creativity is in, it was her number one. It's in the wisdom cluster. So let's count your clusters. So we have one in wisdom, creativity. Then we had love, which is humanity. We have spirituality, which is spirituality. Where are you? Where are you? In transcendence.
Interesting. That's cool. Okay.
So wisdom, actually, it's interesting that creativity is in wisdom, but the other ones that are in wisdom are creativity, curiosity, judgment, love of learning, and perspective. And think of those qualities of a wise person. That could be the teacher.
Right.
You want to have creativity and to do certain things. Curiosity about things you don't know. Judgment, you're able to like look around the room and be fair. So
that's so interesting.
You're spread all out. You're so even right now. So spirituality, transcendence. So people who have great spirituality feel a connection.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to adhere to any religion, but it does, it shows up in ways that feel really, you feel like you have a higher purpose.
Right.
There's meaning to you. So how does spirituality show up for you? And let's do this in your music, actually.
Oh, yes. I like that. So the way I look at spirituality musically is like that I am honestly like a vessel for a greater being. So whatever you want to call that, God, spirit, whatever, or maybe not a vessel, but a conduit, I guess is the better word. So like I play, I try to just kind of channel. I know it sounds so hokey, but I don't care.
No,
Um,
that's
uh, I try to channel, like just whatever is honestly coming to me and not block it out. So
right.
I think that to me, being spiritual is like just being really open to the miracles of life and like the magic of life and like just existence, you know, and
Right.
then letting that, you know, come through me through my music. And I
Right.
feel like I usually, when I'm in that space, the best is when I write the best music.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. Can you think of something in your life as a musician that violated your value of either creativity, love, or spirituality? And these are your three top priorities. Like, so,
Violated in what way? Like, what do you mean by that?
like something that went against,
Mm-hmm.
um, something that rubbed you the wrong way in a musical situation, a working situation, and maybe did it violate any of your top strengths? And we have a couple more coming, but is there any, like, can you think of a situation that you thought this sucks?
Yeah.
And can we look at it through the lens of like, it wasn't in alignment with like my values?
Right. I think like, well, when I tried out for The Voice this year, like, I mean, no offense to The Voice.
Right.
It was a cool experience, but it didn't feel like it felt very like they didn't it was just I don't like the music for competition thing. There's a lot of like
Right.
not like accepting people and like judging people in a shady way. So maybe that like I was singing cover songs, so that didn't make me feel good about my creativity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yeah. And you're
something
selling your soul to the devil. That's right.
pretty much.
Well, you know, but like, so what I hear you say is exactly that. There were things about it that you felt like, oh, God, a cover song isn't my true voice.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight people. I want to embrace people. This is setting up a like a real neck to neck kind of thing. That's not the feeling that makes you feel alive when you're making music. And like, I've seen you play with a band. Mm-hmm. You are such a connected band member. Like, you really are. You give to the band, they give to you. It's very equal sharing. And I think that like, anything that doesn't feel like that inherently is probably going to turn you off, and it's probably not the best fit.
That's true. It's and you kind of have to think about that. I think that the beauty of this whole quiz that or the character assessment, I keep calling it a quiz. It's not,
you know.
But the beauty of this is like kind of seeing, well, why didn't these opportunities work for you?
Right.
You know, I don't mind musical competition. I don't mind putting myself out there because that's love. That's me putting my love into the world. And but it is the like, yeah, just certain things about it that I'm like, you know, like I expect to be judged, but I also appreciate like when people value my creativity or value the love I give or value my spiritual approach, you know. So
yeah, I think that it's not that you're against the competition factor. It's the way it was framed that felt like to you.
Yeah, probably.
It ground against you in a different way. Okay, so now we go to her fourth one, Hope, which actually is also in transcendence.
Interesting.
So people who have high transcendence are, they're like the people who can be imprisoned and come out of it enlightened, like wrongfully imprisoned, or like Nelson Mandela, like high level transcendence. People who could undergo a great amount of suffering, but they can get through it. And I'll tell you what's in transcendence: appreciation of beauty and excellence, gratitude, hope, humor, and spirituality. And you think about it, like, even, you know how comedians always have this like tragic, they have great transcendence because they might deal with something like sort of like shitty or whatever, and they joke about it because that's their way of getting through, right?
Right, like they can turn the situation. It's like always said taking something bad and like making it beautiful. I think that's a lot of what songwriting is. That's a lot of what comedy is. That's a lot of what, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That's cool.
So your hope here, can you tell us how hope has helped you in your quest for, in your career path, really?
Ah, yeah. So I would say, I mean, man, music and the arts in general is just a really hard path to be going down, right?
Right.
So, when you choose to a life of music and art as your career, you kind of have to have, I think you kind of have to have a lot of hope, especially if you know there's going to be a lot of rejection, a lot of just like revisiting things, and have to be hopeful. You have to be excited. You have to just have faith, Yeah.
Well, and it's like everybody knows the story of kids who like their parents buy them like tennis rackets and they go to the first lesson and they're like, this sucks, and the thing stays in the closet. Like with music, there's so much competition, rejection, like feelings of like, if you let that really get under your skin, you can really let that mess with your head. But I think that your hope says it I feel like all of your, especially your transcendence skills, realign you with your purpose. Like I feel like even if you feel off kilter, and maybe I would imagine seeing your strengths, like if you get to the point of burnout where you're not giving back to yourself, you feel effed up. You know?
That's true. That's true. Like, I have many friends I need to get better at that. So yeah. For sure. That's cool.
There's something also called overuse and underuse of yourself. So for instance, overuse of love could be martyrdom. So like when you love someone more than you love yourself, like we're all capable of that, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
I am. So but like overuse and underuse of these things.
Yeah.
So okay, and your fifth one is judgment. So I'm going to actually read the definition of judgment because that one feels sort of like judgment.
Like I'm a judgy person, but I know same thing.
No, so it means open-mindedness, critical thinking things through and examining them from all sides, not jumping to conclusions, being able to change one's mind in light of evidence, weighing all evidence fairly. So can you tell us how that might show up in your musical life?
So I would say that actually shows up in the business and side of things.
Right.
So every single like little decision I make, like when I'm trying to figure out what team members to work with for PR campaigns or Spotify or whatever, it's like I like make a spreadsheet. I like write down every little thing that I think.
Love it.
Each person is.
Wow.
I actually get to use my judgment quality in a good way, I think, because I essentially am.
I lost my light. I hear you. I'm turning.
I actually need to turn my light on too. Let's take a quick little. Okay. You take a quick little light break.
I got it.
Hold on.
We had a blackout.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, we're back. We're back, everybody. Don't worry about it.
Daylight is fading. I don't know what to do.
We had hope, and here we are.
So, yeah, I would definitely say, it's just like judgment, like the way that you framed it and the way that the character assessment frames it. It's about being able to look at all the different options and make good decisions and like based on that. So I think that kind of helps me as a musician, because if I didn't have judgment, I might make some pretty bad decisions, just keep making decisions and not, have any weight behind them. Yeah.
It's funny because as I go down, because you sent me more than your 5, and I see you have a lot of wisdom, because judgment is in wisdom. Curiosity is in wisdom. So you're a natural teacher and leader in that way. Able to bring people and also I think you're so right. You have like the creativity, the thick skinness of, because hope and spirituality, when you think about it, when people talk about having hope or having spirituality, you know how they say like no one's an atheist in like a deathbed situation. Like, so like when people are faced with hardship, a lot of times those things come up strong, right? Like, so you're the hardship of a musical career, because look, we're not going to pretend here. Like, it's, you have to be very creative. You have to leverage your skill set. You have to understand how to make a niche for yourself. You have to be very self-promoting, but like not let it get to your ego. Like, it's complicated. And like having that many things and wisdom and transcendence is giving you like a really great tool set. Like, you know, like you could imagine that if someone had a ton of, I'm trying to look at something, humility, which is great, a ton of kindness,
love, maybe,
and love, like they could be taken advantage of in certain business situations in music.
Yes, that would make sense. People like, so if a musician was trying to make it but had all the humility, kindness, love, all that stuff,
It's
it would be
wonderful.
It's wonderful, but it would be more difficult for them. I see what you're saying. Which sucks that it's that way. It really does.
I know. You have to have like the hard and the soft, and the ability, and your next one was appreciation of beauty and excellence, which of course I feel like that goes hand in hand. Right? That's my number one. Yeah. So my let's see, I'm gonna see if I could pull up my results here.
If you look at her Instagram page, it's literally like, I remember when I took Raina, she would always just be like pointing out things that were beautiful, like her office or her house was just like full of just like things that she thought were beautiful. And if you literally look on her Instagram, it's just like, oh, this is cool, this is beautiful, this is beautiful.
Oh my God, that's all it is, you know, like it's crazy. So mine, appreciation of beauty and excellence, is number one for me. And I have to find these guys. I always feel like I get the order wrong here. Let's see.
Did you have love up there too? Or no, you had creativity.
I have creativity, zest, humor, and honesty. So it's appreciation of beauty and excellence. I mean, like, I will not do a freaking thing unless it's pretty. I will not open a folder on my thing. I like literally my computer, like even my icons. Let's see if I could do this. I could show you guys this.
Anything that artists are very much appreciative of beauty.
Yes. Let's see. Like my icons, it's a mess now. Like I'm embarrassed, but
they're all icons are.
Yeah, they have to be like donuts. Like I have to literally motivate myself with things that I find pretty, like sprinkles. You know, and like for me, the presentation is amazing, but also like appreciation of beauty and excellence for me as a teacher. Like I literally I feel like I have the best job ever, because I spend most of the classes like getting choked up listening to you guys, and like not able to freaking get my shit together, because I'm so like, oh my God, so it's
but like what makes you such a good teacher too, because so those who have, for example, for anyone who's listening, those who have appreciation of beauty and excellence, what kind of careers would they be best suited in? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
so
artists, visual artists,
right? Absolutely.
What else?
I think that for appreciation of beauty and excellence, that could be expressed in so many ways.
Yes, true.
You could be, if you were a classical composer, that means that your scores and your parts are going to be like on point. They're going to be gorgeous. If you could be in music PR. You could be somebody who's designing EPKs for people. I think in design, presentation, stylists, you know, like choreographers, you know, stage design, lighting design, A&R. I think A&R people are beauty and excellence because they're driven to find talent.
Yes, absolutely. That's really cool. So it's so interesting. Like, you know, so say our top, well, my top was creativity, yours is creativity too. So people who thrive creatively, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, I think that it can work across a broad spectrum,
Right.
but I would not thrive as an accountant. Like,
No.
I would just die. So,
Yeah.
no offense to anyone who's an accountant.
Right. Well, you know what? And somebody who is an accountant, probably perspective, fairness, like, and when you start to look at what people end up doing, sometimes people are miserable in careers.
Yeah.
Or even within music, they feel like crap, right? Like,
yeah.
let's say someone who's really like you ended up making it really far on one of those competition shows. And like, okay, sign away this, and you're going to do this, and this is who you are now. Here's the look. Like, you would have felt like spiritually removed from your own body.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, like, you know, and in you probably your hackles go up when you read, like, when somebody's trying to get you in a contractual thing that you're not sure about. Like, so you're gonna research it, you're gonna make the cons, like, so see how, like, if you started doing things that like, you might be miserable in a situation and you might not know, you might, like, people oftentimes say, like, oh, just get over it, get a thicker skin, do this, do that. And it's really not about that, because
it's not about that.
Yeah. No, that part of you is not changing. I mean, really not. So, like, understanding who you are can actually help you redirect to certain maybe paths in music that are going to be really satisfying to you.
Right. That's so interesting. Yeah. So for anyone who's watching and is a musician, and if you're like struggling a little bit with, like, well, you know, I don't love this path of being a Broadway cover band musician.
Right.
And, but here's the thing, for some people that's
like amazing.
It's perfect, because maybe they're not creative people, but they're more precise, or they just enjoy, like, humor and zest, and like there's like these elements. Well,
yeah, you're right. Humor, zest, and the creativity actually in the interpretation, because when you think about so many of, you know, the major stars that we know, they didn't write those songs, but they iconically interpret them, and like, you know, even like, so
beings, they're still creative beings, but is there another, like, trait that you could pick up? Like, if someone wanted to be a cover artist, what would the top traits be that, like, you would think?
You know, the thing is, it's really, let's say you wanted to be a cover artist, that's the desire. It's who are you, and how do you use what's already strong? So let's say, Melanie, you wanted to be a cover artist. Creativity is your number one. So guess what? You're never going to do it the same way twice. You're going to challenge yourself to do it in a weird stylistic fusion that no one else has done. Like,
that's actually literally exactly how I tackle covers. So that's right.
Exactly right. So, like, you know, or let's say, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. Let's say you had to become an accountant. Something happened. The Earth's axis shifted. You would come up with a very creative, humanitarian way of organizing your workflow, or finding ways to do it that make you feel like it's play instead of work.
Right. So it's not about, so you can do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of how do you go about doing that thing that utilizes all of your strengths.
Now, there are certain things, like, we know you don't want to be an accountant. So, you know, pressure off. You don't have to be an accountant. But, yeah, and like, people will find that they are in certain professions that maybe work with one part of their brain, but they need something else. Like, I have some friends who joined, and actually, I don't know if Richard Labella is still there, but like, he does music. His side thing of music started to consume, like, his passions. Like, he got into just, like, doing some guitar, and then started doing some voice, and then started doing open mics, and actually, I'm going to say, I have a friend from New York who is an accountant, who secretly wants to be, like, on American Idol. And when I tell you, she does more gigs than any one of us. Karaoke, she will research. Okay, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday. And she literally turned her passions because they're so core to who she is, even though she has like another part of her brain that's doing something else. Yeah. Her creativity wasn't being satisfied.
Wow, that's so interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if anybody here took the test or anybody has questions, right?
Yes. Does anyone have any questions or did anybody take the test? I know that Eli, my boyfriend, took it and watching, or he should be.
He better.
He better be. That was nice. But I took it, and it was interesting because when he took it, we can. Oh, there he is. Hi.
There he is.
Do you have any questions, Eli, about your strengths and the things we both shared? Love and hope.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was really cool when we hit. I forget what his top. What was your? I don't remember what your number one was, but yeah. So if you have any questions, I know. See, I know he's an example.
Well, they say because you can actually do well with my research partner, who's an actual like psychologist, therapist, like amazing, whatever. I went with my boyfriend and we did a walkthrough. Most of his were in transcendence.
Oh,
let me go to transcendence. So appreciation, beauty, and excellence, gratitude, hope, humor, spirituality.
Oh,
and
no.
Honesty.
So honesty in which one?
Honesty, perspective.
Oh no, that's Kate.
Oh, Kate. Okay, so Eli.
So we'll get to you, Kate.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, a personal probe. That's my zest coming through. So I bet that it's sometimes challenging because Eli's too honest.
Yes. It's so spot on.
But here's the thing. The beautiful thing about this, when you do this with like a significant other, a best friend, your mother, you start to realize they can't help it. They are born this way. And you start to see okay, Eli's being honest, like too honest. And like you kind of give them a pass because you're like, well, that's like the core of your tree rings. And wait, so Kate had she said perspective, appreciation of beauty, and spirituality. Wow. Right. So I don't know Kate at all, but I would imagine that that kind of person could probably be like not a religious leader, but a religious leader, like spiritual guide, like somebody who could and that could mean like somebody who has a yoga studio or somebody who like is able to like really lead from a very peaceful place.
That's so Kate. Like I actually don't know Kate super well, but I met her through like I went to high school with her and I reconnected with her last year and we did a show together at my friend Hannah, who was on last week with me from the Deck of Character. She did a house show.
Wow.
And so Kate's performance was so cool. It was like she did this whole, I think she made up a lot of it on the spot and like did some cool audience participation.
Love it.
But it was very it was just very honest and pure and like and it felt like she just has a very good like almost light creative presence, I guess you could say. So
we'll follow someone like that because it's we like that feeling when people like that. And also, I don't know, I bet you Kate is very self-forgiving for when she makes mistakes because she has the perspective of, all right, whatever, I messed up. Yeah. There'll be another show, there'll be another note.
And that was something I admired so much about her performances because she was just like, like she was like just so free and flowing with it, and everyone loved that about the performance.
That's amazing. So like without knowing it, and here's the thing, like you don't need to know your strengths at all, but when you do and you look through choices that you made or careers that you're in, it makes a lot of sense. And okay, so my last thing that I want to say, if there are no more questions or what have you, when I took it, I almost like doubled down and like, damn right, this is who I am. Yeah, I dress in glitter in the daytime, you know, like whatever. It's like zest and creativity and appreciation of beauty and excellence and humor and like
Yeah.
honesty. Like, and I in situations like, you know, in education, I'm gonna say this and it's not gonna shock anybody. It's super male dominated. Women are paid a fraction of what the men are paid. And your voice is often shut out of a room.
Yeah.
And if you speak in a different way than what's expected, like,
Yeah.
you feel like, oh, I don't fit in. And instead of me thinking I need to fit in, I really started feeling like, nope, got to be more Raina. Like,
Yep.
bring it on.
And it probably made people even respect you a little bit more too, because you were just like owning that that part of yourself, and then you're able to shine the you know as much as you can.
Yeah.
Like, you know, your zest, for example,
Right.
and humor and all these things. Like I you know, I think that like you just owning that in any sort of a male dominated
Right.
world. You know what? That's masculine energy. Owning stuff like that, like I mean, the feminine energy is the healer, the nurturer, the like you know, and the gentleness, right? But I think masculine energy is a little bit more like doing stuff. Go get her. Now we can have masculine energy, but part of that, like, part of that is owning yourself, all
right.
of who you are, and then there's some woman you're like, oh, that's a bad bitch, like, like that's what that is. Bad bitch energy is
bad
like
bitch energy.
And
instead of being like a lame version of what they are, because it's phony to who I am, like I'm going to do it my way. And I found that when I just started blatantly doing it my way, like I was way more successful in my career, way more successful as a performer, like just owning it and just like, here it is, like it or not, like it's me. So someone like it, you know?
Oh yeah, of course. And it's so funny because like I feel like that's been a big part. I guess this is one of the last things I'll say too about quarantine. Like right now you have the opportunity. You're not doing anything else, right?
Right.
Maybe you are. Maybe you're working. I don't know. But like if you're not doing anything else, this is the perfect time to not worry about any expectations of the world, not worry about going to a 9-to-5 job, going to a job, trying to fit into a mold that the world has created. You're alone or with people you love or people you trust, hopefully. And you're able to just dig into yourself. And that's to me, like like you said, like as soon as quarantine hit, I was like, yes, like how can I be creative? And it's just like birthed this like I've figured it out. I feel like I've hacked certain things about myself that I haven't before. So take this time during quarantine to dive into your strengths and figure out what works for you, you know?
And it's funny because like you have so many skills that are really well suited to being alone with yourself. Like, your hope, your spirituality, your love, your creativity. God, I could put you in a room with nothing and you're going to be okay. And other people might have more socially dependent skills. And hey, Daniel Lerner, I saw you came on. Thanks for supporting everything I do. And thank you, Kate. But like, you know, so you could see how like there are a lot of people who feel very, very alone because they're not charging in that way. But like, you're so right. It's a great time to really get to know yourself, not be afraid of who you are, embrace who you are, and learn how to best be in your own life. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. Like, it's this is the time. I think we've really, in a weird way, the world, like spiritually, we really needed to slow down so that we can get into our strengths and stop. I mean, man, we have such a bad like case of everyone trying to fit in and fit into society and fit into all these weird molds, and I was like, you know, being able to just be with myself and be with my creativity, it's like you get your confidence back when people aren't constantly breathing down your neck. And especially in the music industry, man, like, you know how it is. Like, if you spend less time, you know, if you spent more time like online just like perusing and like going through Instagram and finding all of the people that think like you and like are your tribe. Like I really gained like probably 600 followers through
Wow.
I have been like pushing and trying to find my tribe and connecting. And it's probably people who hold a lot of the same strengths or values or whatever. So
That's amazing.
So yeah, just you can find your tribe, find yourself, you know,
That's
through
right.
this quarantine.
Yes, and also, like I thought this was like really fun. It would be interesting to see if anybody had any thoughts on their strengths and like to share some stuff like that. And I guess next week we'll come back and ask if anybody took the test, had any realization, big fights with their boyfriend, whatever, like.
I mean, you never know. You never know.
Right.
I'm definitely gonna be talking to Eli after this about that honesty thing.
I'm all up in my students' business, which makes it so fun. I'm telling you, doubling down, getting in there.
I know, but so actually, you know what would be really fun is if any of you guys right now. So next week we're going to be looking at songwriting in different genres. We're going to revisit this a little bit, I think, at the beginning, just to like see if anyone had any questions or realizations. That would be really fun. And then we're going to dive into different genres and like how songwriting differentiates in like country music versus pop music versus R&B. But if you guys have any songs that you can write right now that you want us to like look into and decipher, that would be really fun, because then her and I can, and it can be anything. I would say maybe try to stick with contemporary, but of all the ages is fine. If it's not, it's totally fine too. Any songs that you can think of that you'd want us to kind of decipher and explain like why it fits in the genre that it fits in. And also, we might try and take one of those songs and turn it into like if it's a country song, turn it into an R&B song and see how we could do that. So, yeah, if you guys have any songs, let us know. You can comment below, or you can just, I'm probably going to post this on Facebook too, so you can comment below there. But, yeah.
I love it.
Cool. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Just, I'll get close. I'll get like a preacher. I'll turn this light down so I'm not blinding myself. We're pulling each other's tribe. And I think that this whole time period has shown just how vulnerable we are, like literally to like running out of toilet paper. Like we're at some base level stuff right now. So I think that the most important thing we could do is really think about what's important in life. In your values, in your relationships. And I really hope, and I'm sure Melanie, you do too, that when we come out of this is not like a forgotten period. Like, oh, that was that time that we stayed home. Like, no, this is like a real wake up call to care, to pay attention, to help people. Because God, like this is, I mean, honestly, like if we are lucky enough to just be home, it's like the unlucky ones are, so I think that we owe it to everybody to improve. Like you said, like you're here with yourself, improve, like think about things that you know that you want to do, that you want to give, that you want to share. And maybe like let's stop being afraid of being different, and let's let's not all same. Let's not all do the same thing. Let's like let all these beautiful differences come through, knowing that this is who you were born to be,
Oh my gosh, yes, preach. I'm gonna have we're gonna start a new like weekly thing where it's just Raina preaches, and
we're just gonna do this all the time. I know, exactly. This is amazing. Wow.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, it's such an important time for our world, for us to just really dig into how we can help each other and how we can not go, like, basically just figure out like who we are, so that we can make sure that we don't go back to the old normal, because the old normal was a lot of just trying to fit in or going with the status quo. But it's like, no, like there's plastic all over the place, and some people don't like that. It's like, well, it's time to stand up for that. It's time to like make that change,
Love it.
Figure out what's important to you. So
I love it. Perfect.
But yeah, so thanks for joining me. It was so fun. Next
Thanks
week
for having me.
if you guys have any song requests, I'll post, another flyer, for when we're gonna go live, so you can write the requests underneath that. And then I'll see you next week. This was awesome.
Yay! Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Good to see you. Bye.